You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Susie and the Banshees, a track called Christine. Before that was the Rolling Stones. Happy, that was dedicated to Chris Hardwick.
Thank you.
How are you, Chris?
I'm good on 95.5 KLOS.
Hey.
Always want to do that. Yeah, I went to high school in Los Angeles, so just like KLOS, there was always a 95.5 KLOS. Like it was real radio-y in those days.
When we do after, is he here, Stu, to do IDs?
Yeah.
Can you do one?
Oh, yeah.
Don't do bar.
Here's the Jones Jukebox. It's 95.5 KLOS.
This is
It's
Chris
about
Hardwick.
75 degrees in the Southland, you guys. What's going on over there? We're going to be over there at the Troubadour tonight. Rat is playing. We're going to be there giving away stretch pants.
Did you ever go to the Starwood?
No. What's the Starwood?
That was more like mid-70s. It was, I think it's a Chinese restaurant there now. It's like on the corner of Santa Monica and Crescent Heights on that bend there if you're going west.
Oh, no, I didn't live here then, and I was 4.
Oh, okay.
My parents didn't let me travel to the West Coast alone.
It was a famous rock and roll club. Like Bill Nash was the owner.
Oh, man, no, I never...
Used to stash blow under the stage.
You know, I was a very straight-laced kid, and it wasn't until I hit 20 that I became like an alcohol monster. And then, I quit drinking at 31. But yeah, it was. I had a good 10 years of party times. But before and after that, it was boring, really boring.
Do you ever do any movies?
No one ever asked me to.
Yeah, I was wondering.
The only person that I've ever done movies with is Rob Zombie, because we've been friends for 2 decades, and so I've done movies with Rob, but no one ever asked me to be in movies, and maybe that's for the best. I don't know. I'm probably not a great actor.
Do you think you could do it? Are you good at remembering lines?
I can remember things. I just don't know if I can say them in a way that sounds like I'm not remembering them.
Yeah, like you can be an actor.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someday. I don't know, man. It's really bringing me down, Jonesy. See, already I can't pull it off. Yeah, no.
You could have had class.
You're gonna meet somebody. What's the matter with you?
This is a Max Hardcore production, and I expect better. You reference
that could be your new stage name. I think he's out the picture.
I hope not. You had asked me something at the break about, you said, remind me to ask you about comedy and political correctness.
Yeah.
So I'm reminding you now.
Now that people are upset with every little, outraged at every little thing you say, being a comic must be challenging, or what? Talk about it.
It's a very strange time, because comedy is meant to be a very intimate thing for a small group of people in one space. It's a very communal experience. And sometimes, comics will say things that in context work okay, or maybe not, but whatever. It's part of the agreement that the performer and the audience have, that this is the general realm of material that's okay. And things get taken out of context. Someone, we're at such a part of our culture where people just see a headline or a tweet and they go, that's something I can get mad at. And so they don't really take the time to investigate.
Yeah.
And then, there is the part of the corporate outrage machine is to be able to drive traffic to a website by going, this person said this, and this is outrageous, and people are mad. And it's like, comedy is a defense mechanism, and it's to establish community, and it's to protect ourselves from the crap sandwich of life. And so the seed of almost every comedic thing is something terrible that is technically offensive to someone in the world.
Yeah.
But now, because of social media, everyone in the world has a voice, so everyone can go, I don't like that over there. And they're like, okay, well, you don't have to pay attention to it. Yeah, but everyone needs to get mad at this thing because I don't like it. And comedy is a very odd thing, because people have no problem laughing at everything else, but the minute something lands near their feet, a lot of people are like, whoa, you can't. It's like, yeah, but you were just laughing at this other thing. Well, I know, but now I'm mad. It's like, you either really should be offended by everything or nothing.
Yeah.
It's my take on it. But I'm not a particularly offensive comic, but, I talk mostly about myself. And my last special was a lot about my dad dying, which I know doesn't sound funny. But, there were things about it that I thought were common and human. And so I played with that a bit.
Yeah, there is a line, I guess, right, where it's just like not funny. It's just crude. It's just crass.
Yeah, I think part of it is, when I'm kind of looking at stuff I'm writing about, I think, Mel Brooks on our podcast once said, "Oh, comedy should be all about subverting power and, like taking down and not punching down at someone who's on the ground." So I think you kind of, because there is kind of a fine line between bullying and, like really going after something that should be taken down. And so, I don't know. I mean, that's just for me personally. That's where I kind of like to look at what I'm writing about. Am I making fun of someone who doesn't deserve to be made fun of, or is this someone, that obviously is in a position of authority or some type of infrastructure that I feel like, yeah, I can go after that. That's, of course.
Yeah. Have you ever been approached to do the Late Show, or one of them Jimmy Kimmel type?
Yeah. But I don't really do stand up on them. I just panel. I just sit and chat with them.
Couldn't you be that guy though?
Oh, you mean host of one of those shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
would you like that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's so many people in doing that now. And I feel like the show I do on Comedy Central is really exactly what I want to do, which is it's like a British panel show. It's a fake game show, and it's my friends who are comedians, and we're making wiener jokes about the internet. So when I see what Fallon has to do every night, which I think is a remarkable variety show, that to me, I go, wow, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I like doing what I'm doing. I don't know if I could sit behind. I mean, I like doing the podcast. But that's very intimate, like having to interview someone in a 6-minute chunk about the kind of the most obvious. It just doesn't really feel like I don't know if I would want to do it.
It's a bit fake.
Well, it's just that it's
not real, is it?
It's just been around. It's just like that construct has been around for so long. It's like, here's the monologue. We're going to do a sketch, and then we're going to sit on the couch and just talk about, what was it like to work on this movie? Well, it was fun. And then one time I slipped and fell. Well, we're right back, So I don't know. I feel like that would drive me crazy after a while.
And a band doing a song.
Yeah. But the other side is I love to work. So if that were available to me, and I would do it happily. I'm not I like to work.
You do, and you work a lot.
I do. I try.
You don't get tired? You don't get exhausted?
Sure I do, but I find ways to manage my energy and plan. I've started saying no to things, and I just remember a time when no one would come to shows, and I couldn't get hired, and I couldn't get an agent, and that was a big chunk of my life and my career. And so now I just kind of feel like, well, there's a window, and you don't know how long these opportunities are going to come along. So I kind of just do stuff I like, and I don't do things I don't like. And that's, I think, about as much as you can ask for in terms of success. Do you get to do everything you like doing, and do you not have to do anything you don't want to do to survive? And it's a very glorious place to be, and I don't know how long it'll last, so I'm just trying to appreciate it.
Yeah. Do you have writers, or do you do it all yourself?
Stand up?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I write it. I mean, a lot of it comes from being on the road and interacting with people live. My show, I talk to the crowd a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and occasionally, I think all comics have friends who are like, oh, can I bounce this off you? What do you think of this? Can we workshop this a little bit? I do a show in town at Meltdown Comics. We have a theater, and once a month or twice a month, me and 2 other comics do 20 minutes of brand new stuff we just wrote. And that's just a way to work out new stuff.
Yeah. What's the thing where you say something, hashtag, and you run with it? What was that?
Hashtag wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just something that when Twitter first started, it was something people just did automatically. Like hashtag sort of became a joke button, or like a parenthetical in a sentence, or a way to categorize your thing. And so, I don't know, when we started at midnight, I was like, oh, those kind of died down a little bit. Let's try to let's make that a game. So that's all. We just made it a game, and it sort of became one of the signature pieces of the show.
Do you watch John Oliver?
Yeah, John's great. I mean, he's so smart. He's fantastic.
I like his show. I watch it every Sunday.
He's great, and you almost get kind of jealous. I get kind of jealous of it because he has a week to basically build like a half-hour monologue.
Yeah.
It's like
and he must have writers.
Yeah, well, the show definitely has writers.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure most of it's probably what you see is probably mostly John, but I'm sure there are writers and researchers. Every show has that. But yeah, I'm an idiot because when he left Comedy Central, I was like, Well, that was dumb. Why would you go to HBO? He's going to be over there on Sunday. No one is there. He's going to be an island. He could have taken over Colbert. He could have taken over The Daily Show. And then immediately he built this amazing, and I'm like, oh, I'm dumb. John's smart. He had it figured out.
Have you ever been there? It's in New York, right?
Yeah.
You ever been on the show?
On which show?
John Oliver show.
No, he doesn't really have guests.
No, but I know, but it's filmed in New York, right?
Yeah.
This is one thing I can never figure out. I think there's no one in the audience because you never see anybody in the audience. It's kind of, when the opening, it kind of pans.
No, there's people there. You can hear them.
But I thought they could be just watching him on a screen
No.
somewhere.
There are definitely people in the audience. There are people in the audience. Ultimately, he's a comedian, so he would want to feed off of, like, the flow, the ebb and flow of his monologue needs the audience.
Why don't they ever show him, you think?
A lot of shows don't really. I mean, like, I think it probably just isn't necessary because what's great about the way that show is shot is that it's all John for that half hour.
Yeah.
And so it's really intimate. So if you start from a directing standpoint, if you're taking wide shots of the audience, and it might actually only be like 50 people.
Right.
The audience might be so small
Right.
that it doesn't look like anything grand. So they probably just figure like, well, we don't need to show the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a shockingly small space that they shoot that show in, but it works great.
Yeah. I love it. Do you like Silicon Valley? Have you watched that?
Yeah.
I love that show.
All my friends are on that show. It's one of those shows that some shows take a little bit of time to get going, and that show was funny in the first minute.
Yeah.
And all those guys, TJ and Kumail and Martin Starr, and like all of them, they're just guys who've been around comedy for a long time on things here and there, and this was the thing that really showcased, like, oh, now everyone knows how funny these guys are.
Yeah.
And Mike Judge is,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a genius.
Yeah. Do you know, I was reading somewhere yesterday that Zuckerberg is the richest man in California. He's worth $19 billion.
That's it. What's he gonna? Well, he's gonna give most of it away.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Is
giving
there
a lot of it.
Is there a line for this?
He's giving a lot of. He's getting a lot of it away to rock stars, oddly, which is a strange choice, but I guess yeah, you should definitely get over there.
Where's the line?
They're dragging their noses across it.
And that's isn't that a crazy amount of money? I saw that when I got onto.
It's an unfathomable amount of money.
Yeah.
It's like,
is it real money? Is it money? Like if I was Zuckerberg, I'd go into whatever bank, 10 banks he's got or offshore, whatever he's got, and say, I want all my money in cash.
I mean, it's probably not $19 billion in cash. I mean, I don't know if there's a facility that could store 19. I mean, it's like a lot of it to liquidate that amount of money. I'm sure there would have to be like, well, you'd have to sell these stocks, you'd have to get rid of this, you'd have to move this over. I mean, it's probably like the sum total of all his portfolio across all the different, he has this much in cash and this much in some type of hedge fund and this much and this other thing. And I mean, it's out there in the economy. It's not, he doesn't just have $19 billion in cash.
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. I wonder if he's a music fan.
I'm sure he probably likes music, right?
Because I've got a couple of some guitars maybe.
I mean, you'd probably sell for half that, right? For like $9.5 billion, you could sell a couple of guitars.
I'd sell him a couple of guitars for, nothing.
For what would you do? What would you do for would you even want $19 billion? I know people think that money makes everything better, but I think especially that amount is complicated because you can't just. Someone might go, well, just give it to a country that needs, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because there needs to be an infrastructure in place that can handle the size of that money and figure out how to distribute it in a way.
But is money ever shipped around, or is it just numbers on a computer these days? Right?
I mean, I don't
think there's actually money being on a boat going over.
I think a lot of it's ones and zeros. Yeah, it's not like when he goes transfer this over there, they load up $1 billion on a Pony Express and then a horse trucks through Deadwood and then they, Yeah, I don't think it's just that way.
If I had $19 billion, it would be my goal to try and spend it as much as possible. Like I'd be out of my mind.
You'd never be able to.
I'll buy a planet.
You could probably do that now. I'm sure a lot of people are this idea of like, oh, just buy a plot on Mars. Wow, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, just give me money. Why don't people just go instead of that? Why don't people just go? Just give me money. Okay.
Oh.
At least we're being honest about it.
Oh man, yeah. I kind of get not resentful, envious of people who have stupid amounts of money. I kind of get jealous. Like when I was watching the Steve Jobs one, thinking all the money he's got, and here I am, scrambling over scraps.
You know what though? But if you had all that money, then maybe you wouldn't do this show, and you wouldn't have an amazing Instagram, and then the world would be deprived of you, because you would just build a money igloo, and you'd never come out. And then what fun is that? And you still wouldn't necessarily be happy. You'd still want to interact with other human beings.
Sure, I do get envious though of people who have billions of dollars. I don't know why.
You just feel like it's too much for one person to have?
It's like I would like to have that for a minute just to see what it's like. I'd like to have my own private Air Force One plane, and it probably revolts. It probably revolts. It revolves around how many chicks I could get. And if you had that kind of money, you could just pick the litter.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like you did that without billions of dollars.
Yeah, not anymore. I'm 60.
Yeah, but you still got the swagger and the charm.
He still got it.
He still got it. He still got it. I feel like, you're selling yourself short. It doesn't matter that you're 60. You got the swagger and the charm. I think you could charm the pants off of most people, I would think.
You should be my therapist.
Yeah.
And manager. Max Hardcore. Therapist.
Yep, we're going to make a string of therapy videos. We're going to go around the world and meet people.
Are you going to Google him when you get home?
Please don't.
Max Hardcore.
Don't Google him.
Oh, I'm dying. No one cares.
What are you talking about? My pants are half off.
Are we going to visit the Duke soon or what?
Soon. You got a few minutes.
We're going to wrap. You got a split, right?
I have to go do a podcast. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I got to
That's
go.
unusual.
I know it's unusual.
I
love hanging out with you, man. I wish, I will do this here or not on the radio or whenever you want. I would absolutely love to hang out.
I appreciate it, buddy. You're fun. You're fun to have around too. Let's play. Are you going to leave now? Then should we get rid of you now?
Yeah, get rid of me now.
Okay. Thanks for coming in. That was so funny, man. Chris Hardwick. We're gonna play. He's leaving the building. We're gonna play.
Here I go.
We're gonna play Flaming Groovies, Teenage Head, dedicated to Max Hardcore. Take it away.